Qualcomm stock significantly higher, around 10%. The story, things look like they're improving in the smartphone market globally. And within that, there's a lot of nuance. There is specific action in China, and there's strength also for the chips that go into cars in the automotive sector. Delighted to say that Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon joins us now. Good morning to you, Cristiano. And let's start with China. What you guys said is that sales to Chinese handset makers surged 40% in the first half. But I wonder what the story behind that is in the end market. What's happening, particularly with Android-based platforms for the Chinese consumer?
Very good. Good morning to you as well. It's a great morning, I think, today. But look, the story on handsets in China, it's pretty simple. We've seen the market had stabilized. We had said about that a couple quarters ago. And users are buying better phones. It's really, for us, a story of flagship and high tiers within the Android, especially a lot of those flagships that are launching with Gen AI. I think we see the very beginning of Gen AI coming to devices, and that actually drove a lot of the growth, and it's 40% not only in this quarter but actually expected to have the same in the next. As we look at the guide, it has been a good story as the smartphone market stabilizes and Android flagship has stayed resilient.
Cristiano, as you know and our audience knows, we will talk about on-device when it comes to generative AI. Let's just linger a moment longer on China. It looks like some of the domestic players that are Android-based are gaining market share against Apple and the iPhone. You see that in the IDC data. You see it in the Counterpoint research data. If that is the case, where the domestic players are gaining that market share, what does it mean for Qualcomm?
Look, the way you should think about our position in China in the handset market, we have been very focused on the premium and high tier with Snapdragon. So when an Android OEM from our customers, Xiaomi, Oppo, OnePlus, Honor, Vivo, when they're selling a flagship device, we have a lot of content. Not only we have the modem content, but we have a lot of the application processor, the AI engine. So that has been a positive development, and that's what is being driving the content increase and the ASP increase, especially when the mix changes to a premium device. The fact that the Android flagship in China with the Chinese OEMs had been stable, proven to be resilient, and see positive momentum as the mix get richer. Chinese users are buying a better phone. That's a good story for Qualcomm, and it's reflected in the numbers.
Is there any anxiety from a geopolitical perspective, Cristiano? You've obviously weathered the fact that you're only in Huawei 4G phones now. You're actually seeing basically ultimately revenue pull away by the end of this year for Huawei. But the geopolitical context is clear. How difficult is it to you to be so dependent on China?
Look, the first thing I want to say is our business is not just China. And I think what happened with the smartphone, this is a phenomenon globally. I think you even saw Samsung, when they talk about it in their earnings call, they have a commentary about the device AI opportunity for flagships. It's real. So the second part is the way we think about everything is if you have a leadership position in technology, you're going to have a big business in China. It's just a function of the size of the market. And I think that's being true not only for Qualcomm, for a lot of other companies that have leadership product position. And to this point, I think we have been seeing our business in China continue to be a stable business. We have not been restricted, but like everybody else in the industry, you have to monitor the situation. I think this is how we have to navigate in the semiconductor industry, but we're happy with the results we have right now.
Let's go therefore to the technology that is winning out. And you talk about AI on device. How are people using it? You've got a Snapdragon 8 Series Gen 3 mobile platform that's really meant to be supporting generative AI at the moment, basically with a personal assistant potentially. But how is that a reality for any or many?
Look, I love talking about this, and I wish I had a lot of time. So I'm going to try to summarize it in just a few minutes. The first thing that is happening, you need to think about AI running on the cloud and the device as a new way of doing computing. And we're just at the very beginning of the use cases. So right now, we can see, for example, multiple tens of use cases. And I expect that within 6 months from now will be hundreds, if not more. What are people doing with it? You see some some use cases of live translate. You can watch a video. You can add a subtitle in any language you want. You can do a lot of real-time photo editing. You can change a lot of the images with the way you like it. You can create new images. You can summarize documents. But the most important thing is the other thing that it's going to bring to phones. I'm going to give you a point to an example. More and more, you do more things on the phone today. But there are things that you're going to think about it. You know what? I have to respond to this very long email. I'd rather wait until I get to my laptop. When you think about a Microsoft Copilot in the phone, for example, you're going to see a lot more use of those devices. We're going to see much more productivity. So we're at the beginning of something great. It's going to take some time. Use cases are developing. You should think about this will happen with the smartphone. In the beginning, there's just a few apps in the App Store. But then, all of a sudden, the apps started to define the user experience. That's how we feel about AI. We're at the beginning. It's going to take a little bit of time, but the signs are great.
For our Bloomberg television and radio audiences worldwide, we're speaking to the Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon, and I think you summed it up well, Cristiano. We're in the very early stages of a world where we're running 10 billion parameter models locally on device on the smartphone side. But we're already talking about the AI PC, right? You guys have your latest generation, which will come to market, Snapdragon 10 Elite and Plus. And it's very impressive. Combination of CPU, GPU, NPU. Give me a minute, we'll talk about NPU. But I still think a lot of people struggle to say, what am I going to do sitting in a cafe running a $10 billion parameter model while I have a cappuccino? Like, what's the actual real world use case?
Okay. We could not be more excited about what's happened in PC. I really think PC is reborn with the Snapdragon X Elite. And it's not only because of the performance, but because actually AI. By the way, we can run 20 billion parameter on the X Elite. It's evolving very, very fast. But the use cases are really incredible. Think about now this AI running all the time. Everything you're doing on your PC, it is running, and it's private. It's your data, it's your use. The AI is learning about you. It's trying to understand your intent. And we starting to see right now with the Microsoft Copilot that you can use the Copilot for everything, for PowerPoint, for Excel, for Word, for email. But there's much more. The AI is helping you recall documents that you have that you've seen or you have on your computer. It's going to help you do things, going to reminding of things that you have to do, or even it's going to help you with tasks that you need. You don't know how to do it, and they will help you one step at a way. That's going to change how we use our computers. And the interesting thing is, how do you do this in a way that you don't compromise battery life? A CPU and a GPU have a job to do. And that's why when you buy a PC today, you want a fast CPU and a fast GPU. But you need a whole new engine that needs to do something else. It needs to do it all the time and not compromise battery life. That's the Qualcomm story.
And what is the market share story of Qualcomm? We've been hearing a lot about other competitors getting into the AI PC space.
I think this is the great story for Qualcomm because we're new. We're just entering the market. I think we're going to see a lot of the devices coming up in the second half of this year. I encourage everybody to watch the Microsoft build and the incredible things they're doing with the new Windows. And I think what's going to happen is Qualcomm is coming in with the leadership product. We like the design traction. Financially, that's going to be more of a fiscal 25 event because a lot of the laptops are going to be in the shelves for the second half and back to school. But the product momentum is great. And here's how you should think about Qualcomm market share in general. One thing about the company, and it's been the history of the company, everything that we set ourselves to do, the track record is actually not bad. When we entered the Wi-Fi, we became number one. We entered the RF front end, we became number one. Automotive, we said we're going to go into automotive. I think our story there is very, very good. We're becoming the preferred partner of the industry. We said we're going to enter the metaverse. We have every single design. Now we're saying we're going to enter the PC, and we started off the gate with the leadership in the product. So, as we continue to execute, time is going to show that we can gain share and can be a significant player. After that, it's going to be industrial as we continue to execute on the growth and diversification of the company.
Friday Talk, Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon. We thank you for bringing the energy today.